I apologise for the mass disconnection. I don't know what happened. All I know is 1 minute I was live and the next minute my router was resetting. So I don't know if that's connected to the issues of the other day when the internet was down. But we are back up and running and I apologise for that. So I don't know where everyone qualified, but what I can tell you is we're on lap 4 and Kevin 77 is in the lead of this race in that Porsche Cayman, with Stormfly just behind him with the Dodge Viper. So it looks like they qualified well, but the gap already back to GMAC is 6.8 seconds. He's got BFeR for company who's running very, very well in 4th place right now in the WRX. Gap back 3.9 seconds to Aussie Rooster with TJ4 company. TJ running in 6th in the Renault Megane, and we've got Manx, first of our, the highest runner of our new drivers. He is in that Citroen GT, rolled for him just a couple of hours ago. 1.4 seconds clear of Wiggy in the I was going to call it the little Tykes, but it is the Suzuki Swift. Suzuki Swift little Tykes car. 1.3 seconds clear of Avalon in the Alpha 155. So already seeing that the performance in that Swift much better suited to this track. Bandit in the Scirocco. Newly rolled car for him, and welcome to the team, buddy. 6.2 seconds back from Avalon, and Grizz Troopers 15.2 seconds back at the very back of the pack, and he hits the wall there in that Feather, which will slow him up even further. But the leader of the race, there he is, Kevin, and he's not got it all his own way. He's only 1.6 clear of Stormfly. If Stormfly can get back into that slipstream, then this could all change. Now, I'm assuming that is the fast lap of the race. It might not be. But we're on lap 4, just starting lap 5, and those racing soft tyres have held out somewhat for Stormfly. Kevin's opted for the racing mediums, but the fuel is going to run out long before the tyres do. So it probably would have been better off on those soft compound tyres. Fubar's got around GMAC, he's up into 3rd, but GMAC tucked in that slipstream. Can he make a move up into turns 1 and 2? He's desperately trying to find a way through. He pulls out the slipstream, up into the braking zone. He makes the move. Does he make it stick? Yes, he does. GMAC back into the top 3 of this race, gets himself into those podium places. The next fight back is Aussie Rooster's on his own at the moment in the Huracan, the Rooster-inspired Huracan, who is 6.2 seconds behind that battle. 4.8 though is the closest driver to him, and that is TJ. He has already built up a 10-second lead over Manx 57, man. Manx 57. And he has now Avalon Shadow behind him, who's made his way around the Tommy Tippy Cup of a car. And he is running in that 155, just a second behind Manx. Is there going to be an opportunity for an overtake with the slipstream? That is the question. Avalon running on the race is soft though. He's burnt through the fuel a lot more, but he's looking to make a move. Can he make the move here? He looks to make it here. He has made the move. He's made it stick. Manx drops down to 8th place. So a bit of a charge forward from Avalon at the moment. Wiggy 2.6 seconds back. Grizz Troopers is the first already to pit. And it's such a hate missing the beginning of a race because it really throws you off. And there we see with Suzuki Swift, its problem is the front tyres. Absolutely give out so much quicker than everything else. 52 seconds back to Bandit. He's been in the pits. He's gone on to the racing hard tyres for the rest of this race. Should make it to the end on those, assuming of course that the fuel holds out for him, because I think fuel is going to be the biggest management aspect here today. But a brave choice all the same. Me personally, I think I would have gone for the soft compound tyres all the way through. So Grizz Troopers moving on to those racing softs. He's 18 seconds back. Stormfly and GMAC both into the pits. So they're both on the soft compound tyres. Had to change them out. So Kevin will disappear off that road. And it's already 20 seconds. That lead. 20 seconds. Fubar is up into 2nd. He's gone around. I'd say he's got around GMAC. We didn't have to. GMAC went in the pits, but Aussie's really closed that gap down. The gap is half a second. Aussie Rooster on the softs, Fubar also on the softs. They've managed to make them last a little bit longer than the guys in front, and this could really play into their hands as they come into the twisty back section of this course. One more lap for them. That's the mantra. how close, or how close can they get to Kevin? Well, the answer is they can't, because Kevin is just a monster. But how far away can they get from the guys behind? Bear in mind, Fuba joined us about halfway through this tournament, jumped into this WRX. He did retain the points that WRX held from the previous driver, just as a reward for jumping in when he did. So he could potentially move up the order quite some way. Ozzy's just outside the top 3 at the moment, so for him this is a real opportunity to get himself into that top 3. There is Wiggy, he's up to 4th place. He's also on those soft tyres. There is no wear on the rear, but so much wear on the front. But he's going to do this last lap, and then he's going to go in. Now, I said the pit window was going to be about lap 4 for the soft tyres. Clearly, they've held it out a lot longer than I expected, which is a good thing. Obviously, ignore the lap count on the right-hand side because of the disconnection. We're kind of thrown off a little bit. So Stormfly comes back out. He comes back out in 5th place. He's 55 seconds behind Kevin. That's some distance to make up. He's on the medium tyres now, though. What does Kevin switch to? That's the big question. Will he come out on the soft compound tyres? And you see, Fubar stays out for another lap on those tyres. So he's got a lot of confidence in those front tyres here. Ozzy also staying out as well. But to be fair, Ozzy's tyres looking much better. Is there a potential overtake here for Ozzy because he's got so much more on those tyres? He's got more fuel, or he's got less fuel, but he has got more tyres. So Fubar relying on having grip later on in the lap. Ozzy himself not so worried about that. So Kevin back out. He's come back out on the medium compound tyres again. He's going to run quite a long way on these this time. His fastest lap was a 1:58.6, which he did on lap 4, which is when we could finally rejoin after the internet resetted itself. And I know I said that wrong. Don't correct me. Not in the mood for your grammar Nazi business. Stormfly in 4th place, just 4.3 seconds behind Kevin. So he has lost a bit of time in the pit window, but looking to go a little bit racy. He's a little bit lower on fuel. So I think it's going to be a 2-stop strategy for Stormfly. There is GMAC, 8.5 seconds back. Bear in mind, still Fubar and Ozzy have still got to pit. So it'll be interesting to see where they come out. GMAC 38 seconds behind those. His key right now is going to be closing that gap before they go in. 14 seconds back to TJ in the McGann, in a massive space of his own. He has pit. He's back on the racing soft tyres this time. And 10 seconds ahead of Manxman in the beautiful looking, that's a beautiful looking car. It's just a shame it's a French one. I have never owned a decent French, no, I tell a lie, I had a Megane convertible or Megane Sport convertible for a short time as a company car, and it wasn't awful. But every French car that I have personally owned has been a big pile of steaming dog shit. And if I never have to own one again, it'll be too soon. But saying that, here comes the Alpha 155, the beautiful Italian classic, tucking in behind in the hands of Avalon. It looks like he's going to make a move as soon as that opportunity comes up. He's tucked under the wing of that GT, and as they come round into this very long straight here at Tokyo Expressway, he's very likely going to use that slipstream to breeze past. Now the thing is you look at the car there and you look at this one, and you have to wonder how it's giving him so much slipstream, bearing in mind how much taller the Alpha is. But he is getting slip all the same, but not closing. So it looks to me like there's a lot more power in that GT than there is in the Alpha. We know the Alpha struggles at top end, and we look here, it's maxed out at 171. Don't know how much he's fiddled with the gearing, but maybe he could have. For me, I would have opened up the gearing a little bit, taken away some of that blistering pace out of the corner that it has, and given it some beans on the straight. So Manx has managed to open up quite a big gap because of the difference in the beanses, the big beanses. There's Wiggy, 3.6 seconds back in 9th place. Thought he'd be higher actually with the performance of this car, particularly when he gets a slipstream. but not working out for him. Currently sitting in 9th place, 22 seconds ahead of Bandit, though. Bandit not getting that Scirocco up to any sort of reliable speed, but he is ahead of Grid Troopers by 19 seconds, and hopefully, I mean, nothing against Bandit, and I hope you don't take this the wrong way. It's good to see some guys at the rear of the pack for some of us back markers to have a little race with, because it can get, you know, whatever race team you're in, it can get a little bit demoralising when the majority of people you race with are always out in the lead of a race. So it's nice to know there are people of your level that can race all over the racetrack, and it will be good to have an opportunity to race against Bandit, because I think, well, look, it could just be that this car's about a dog shit, and actually when you put him in a better car, he absolutely melts it. Or he's sandbagging just to scare us into a full security. That's also certainly possible. Grid Troopers in rear in the Ferrari 458. 18 seconds back, but anything can change, you know, it's one of those things. And there will be a reverse grid race for him to participate in at race number 3. So Kevin still in the lead, 4.1 seconds is that current gap back to Stormfly. Fubar and Aussie finally pit lap 9, and I'll tell you what, they've taken those tyres some distance in this race, and it's I think it's going to bear them quite good towards the end of the race, because it looks to me like they're going to be able to one-stop this quite comfortably. Stormfly is 12 seconds clear of GMAC right now. GMAC having a much better run in that BMW. I bet he's much more comfortable today than he has been in previous weeks in that Rocket BMW. And I should pull him up really for the fact that he never seems to have a black flag logo on his car. I should be more like Justin Schneider. We would be a little bit more, why haven't you got a black flag logo on your car? But it's actually more about sponsors, to be fair. You know, we do have sponsors that we are representing. It'd be nice if they could be on the car. But I'll let you off, Gary, because you spend so much time in the pits that no one gets to watch your car racing anyway. Losing my voice. TJ up to 4th place in the Renault Megane. 15 seconds back from GMAC. 5.7 seconds clear of Fubar at the moment. That's where he's come out of the pits in 5th place. So Fubar comes out in 5th, 5 seconds clear of Manx, who is again. So basically, what happens is this is quite an interesting race between these two cars, because it looks like that Citroen GT in a straight lane is absolutely phenomenal. Through the twisty section, not quite so quick. So Avalon tends to close up through the twisty section, right onto the back of Manx, and then Manx can pull away when you get to the straight here. So I think what Avalon needs is to be a bit closer on the straights. If he can, I mean, he's tucked in quite well there, and the longer he can stick with him through this long straight, and the closer he can stay with him, he'll be able to pull away from him come the twisty section on the other side of the track. And I think that is going to be absolute key here. And this time, I think Avalon really is tucked in there, although it just seems that when they get to the start-finish line, that Citroen starts to just open that gap out. But this time, he hasn't opened it out so much, and I think Avalon is going to be in a position to be making a move through the twisty section, unless Manx obviously can keep him at bay. But right at the end of this straight, really losing out is Avalon. Just hasn't engineered, what's the word? Yeah, that's the word. Hasn't engineered the straight line speed into the Alpha that he probably could have done with in that particular part of the racetrack. So it's not always about, you know, one thing about this competition, it's great that we have this GR4 lottery, we switch up the cars. It's a bit of a change for everybody. We are going to tweak the format a little bit, and we're not going to put any more shit cars in there. There's only going to be decent cars. But it might be a case of I don't know how we're going to keep the lottery format, because I think we're all quite happy with the lottery format, but it's how we engineer that lottery format, and whether we do it with a new car roll before every race, or we only put a few cars in there, something along those lines. But here we see Avalon tucked in behind Manx. This is the chance for him to make that move if he can. He's certainly got the speed through this section, and can certainly go round corners a lot quicker than that GT can. So where Manx has clearly engineered out downforce and left it so that the car is much quicker on the straights. He has lost out on the trickier corner sections. So here we go. G-Mac pitting again. Loves it in the pits, does that boy. There's Kevin in the lead. 3.9 seconds in the lead from Stormfly in the Viper. 17, well now 33 seconds clear, because TJ's in, G-Mac's in for their second stop. It is a 30-minute race here, of course. Manx does go in. Does Avalon? No, he doesn't. So Fubar is out in third. Where's Avalon? Oh, Avalon is in the pits. So he pits as well for his final stop. Fuel just didn't hold out for him, but he can put on those softs and run to the end of this race quite comfortably with a full tank of fuel. Manx will probably do the same. TJ, I expect, will also do the same. Bandit running in 10th, 1 minute behind. The rear tyres holding out very well, but the front tyres not so much. Grid Trooper's 15 seconds back. He should make it to the end of this race as well. Bandit, I think his tyres are not... We don't know. He opted for the hard tyres. I think in the hope that it would propel him further forward. But I think he might have been better off going for some quicker tyres and more stops, because the gap is quite large. But welcome to the team, Bandit. It's I guarantee you will have people that you can race with on a regular basis, and it'll be fun, especially at the weekends, mate. Especially at the weekends, there's a lot more people of this kind of pace. So there's Kevin out in the lead, 6 seconds clear. He pops into the pits. Stormfly will follow him in, of course, and that will promote possibly Fubar into the lead of this race. Now, we know that Fubar and Aussie are one stopping this race, so how does this bring them into the fight for the top 3? As you see, Fubar just coming up to lap Grid Troopers at the back there. Has this tactic been very, very clever one on the part of Fubar and Aussie by only one stopping this race? Because it's a relatively long pit. In the scheme of things, it's a long pit. Kevin is out though, and Kevin is out 12 seconds clear. But the gap was huge anyway. But Fubar is now 4.6 seconds ahead of Stormfly. Aussie 50 seconds back. But it looks to me like Aussie has actually pit earlier. So he should still take it to the end of this race, but he's not going to be in the top 3. Now the question is, Fubar is lapping around. I mean, he's had some odd times. He's clearly had a couple of bad laps. But if we look at his fastest lap, it's a 1:59.8. Stormfly 1:59.0 is the fastest one we can see up there. So if Fubar can up his pace a little bit, I'm pretty sure actually he can guarantee a top 3. He might even guarantee a top 2 here. So Wiggy dives into the pits. He will go down the order. Don't think Bandit's close enough to catch him. So I think this essentially is pretty much the order we're looking at. So Kevin in the lead, 9.2 seconds clear of Fubar. I think we'll see Fubar and Stormfly at some point over the next probably 3 or 4 laps have a little set to maybe if Stormfly can close that gap. Aussie Rooster's 9 seconds behind Stormfly. I think based on current pace, although Stormfly's it's about 3 seconds difference, so I don't think Aussie's going to get himself involved there. But if I were Aussie, I'd be a little worried about G-Mac, because G-Mac, when he has the hammer down, is putting in some very, very good times in the BMW. 4.6 seconds back at the moment, and I think that's a battle we could be seeing wage later. There is TJ. He's 18 seconds back. He has got Manx bearing down on him now. The battle between Manx and Avalon Shadow is well and truly over, although Manx does have some damage on the front end, which is going to slow him up a little bit. He is closing up on TJ, 3.2 seconds up the road, both on the racing soft tyres. Avalon with some work to do, but fuel-wise, he's got plenty to play with. So this could be an interesting battle towards the end of the stint. Where are we? 5 minutes away, so we are essentially 3 laps from the end of this race. 11.2 seconds clear. This is Kevin's race to lose. Just don't crash, my friend, as he crashes. Fubar in second. I think it's going to be too much work for Avalon to do, not Avalon, sorry, Stormfly to do to catch him at this stage. FUBAR is tucked in behind Bandit, getting some plenty slipstream there. And I suppose now it means FUBAR's not a new boy anymore, is it? Because now we have Manx and we have Bandit. FUBAR is no longer the new kid on the block. He's a seasoned regular, shall we say. 4.6 seconds is the gap. Stormfly is closing the gap, but I don't think he's closing it fast enough now to make a difference in these last 3 laps. Aussie Rooster 11.7 seconds back. I think he might be under a bit of pressure from GMAC. He has put in his fastest lap of the race with a 2-minute 0.8. GMAC with a 2-minute 0.6. But I think as we get further in and with the tyres as they start to go off for Aussie, I think GMAC's going to be able to close that gap, and he already is closing it down to 3.9 seconds. He's still got a bit of slipstream as well from there's Chris Troopers just in front of him. TJ 17 seconds back. He's not going to get involved in that battle. 2:02.1 his last lap. 2:02.3 last lap from Manx. He's got some work to do, Manx, if he wants to close that gap. And I think fuel-wise, his biggest worry is going to be from Avalon behind, who is looking a bit faster. Wiggy in 9th place didn't do what I thought he would do in the Tommy Tippy Cup Little Tikes car. It's a shame really, because you see Wiggy racing on Super Formula Saturday, you realise that this guy can actually drive very, very well. He's just been unfortunate in GR4 lottery to have the Atenza in the first 5 rounds, swap it out and pick the single worst car on the wheel. And I genuinely promise you it wasn't engineered. To be fair, if I'd engineered it, I would have engineered him a much better car, because it's much more fun when we've got quick guys all racing out in front. I'll tell you what, I'm going to lose my bloody voice today. There is Bandit running in 10th place. 15 seconds clear of Good Troopers. And you see Manx jumping into the pits. So I think he's realised he's under. I don't think he has underfueled though, that's the thing. It's only a 30-minute race. I don't think he's underfueled. Or maybe he feels he has. That's going to cost him there. So Kevin, 15 seconds clear of FUBAR. The gap to Stormfly, 1.8 seconds. And we are on the... Are we on the last lap? I don't think we are. I think there's 1 lap left. So FUBAR with some work to do. We know Stormfly is going to close up that gap through the straight here. But FUBAR just needs to keep that WRX ahead. It's a good strategy from him to one-stop this race. Also a good strategy from Aussie to one-stop it. He's 17 seconds back outside that top 3. But finishing 4th among these cars on this track in the Not Diablo, that's not a bad going actually. And a bit of slipstream down the straight here from Bandit. Yes, please. GMAC is 2.2 seconds back now. Is he going to close it up? Well, not with dodgy looking fuel like that. I think he's kind of hoping the race is over this lap, because if it isn't, he's going to struggle to make it home. And that is going to be an absolute nightmare. He's going to cross the line here, and it's going to be a problem. Oh, actually, really? We're just watching it tick down. I think he's hoping he crosses the line here. No, he does. He's had to slow up because it's all over. He's slowed it down. And yes, he does. So GMAC finishes in 5th. TJ will come home in 6th. Avalon in 7th place. So top 4 all make it through to another lap. GMAC probably could have done, but he didn't have enough fuel on board to do it. So he did the right thing and slowed up. Avalon Shadow will come home in 7th. That battle with Manx all over, when Manx underfueled, and everyone realising that their fuel was just enough to make it home. So there we go. I don't know why that finished when it did. You need to sort out the settings, because here we go. The problem with the settings is that race finish delay should be more than 30 seconds. So change the race finish delay. It needs to be the maximum. So race number 1 is over. We all know how it finished. It was Kevin from FUBAR from Stormfly from Aussie. Now the thing is, is we won't know if Stormfly would have ever catch FUBAR because of those dodgy settings. And I'm going to say this again on the stream, we need to be really aware of how we set up the rooms. And we've got, this room's named practice, it's not a practice fucking race, it's an actual race, so I think we need to be more aware of this going forward. But look, you know, we'll get to the end of the year and then we'll deal with our professionalism in the new year maybe. But there we go, so race number 1 over. Race number 2 will be coming up very soon. We're going to play the mine video for you again. Please get involved if you can.
Mental health problems affect 1 in 4 of us. Join Mind now in the fight for mental health.
A donation of £20 could help 167 people take their first steps in getting mental health support through Mind's booklets.
And we're back. Race number 2 will be underway very shortly. A few people just practicing on track. I do apologise for all the issues with the stream at the beginning. Massive internet crash in my house. Second one in a week, although this time it did come back on. I wasn't out of action for too long. Hopefully this is not indicative of things to come, or I will be calling my ISP this week and telling them to off. Yeah, so there we go. So hopefully the settings are sorted now. Let's have a quick look actually. We'll have a quick look at the standings while I'm doing that. So that's the current standings, that's where we are. Kevin with another win, that'll put him on another 25 points to open up his lead. Avalon with a not such a great finish this time, so Aussie might be able to jump him if he has another good performance, as will TJ. Stormfly with a good points haul as well. So I'm looking forward to to a good couple of races here, particularly the reverse grid. I think the reverse, or the slowest first grid for race number 3, is going to be a very exciting race, because it does rely on you making your way through the pack very quickly in order to get the best out of it. And a track like this, where it's such a quick track, you're going to find the cars at the front are going to be able to hold up some of those faster cars for longer than they would expect. And it's going to be a very, very interesting third race. But race number 2 is coming up, and it is, of course, the same thing. We've got this one hot lap qualifying, which sets the grid for the rest of the race. So what have we got coming up on Black Flag TV? I hear you ask, or you don't ask, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So tomorrow we are back, round 3 already of Late Night Racing League F1 2022, and we are at the Hungaroring for the third race of that series, and it's already hotting up. There's already been some massive differences in pace, and some people are standing out, some people not so much, but I'll tell you what, it's been very, very good already, and the reigning champion is starting to make moves towards the front of the pack. So let's see, let's just check if he's changed that setting. He has indeed changed that setting. I can imagine he was being shouted at on the comms. In all honesty, there we go. So, hot lap qualifying is about to get underway. Everyone jumping on and getting ready to go. But yeah, what else on Black Flag TV? Wednesday, it is back to the brilliant Team v Team race we've got with Virtual Races Club. And it's been so much fun racing with those guys. They're really, really good guys. Some really quick guys within that roster, and they're very fair races. That's the thing, is it can be difficult to find other teams to race against that are fair and honest and just good racers. And we found with Virtual Races Club that it has been brilliant. And the only shame of that is that Thingamajig, my counterpart Thingamajig, the guy that sits in Studio 2 while I'm in Studio 1 doing this one for VRC, has not been able to do a couple of those races live. But touch wood, hopefully he's back in the studio this Wednesday, and we can switch between his dulcet tones and my utter ramblings of bullshit. That'll be fun, won't it? Yes, it will, Bahoo. Right, yes, it will. Then Thursday, we have something brand new for Thursday. Now that the Amigos Racing Team Showdown is over, it's another foray into F1 2022 with a little trial race for a new team. They are mid-season. I did agree to do that this week, but and then I get approached again by Amigos to do something else. But we'll juggle some stuff around, and we'll find a way to make everything work. Friday we're back with Eurotrips. Couldn't stream Eurotrips this Friday, unfortunately, due to some internet down issues, which was a long-term thing, which I suffered for all of Friday and a big chunk of Saturday. Then Saturday, obviously, we're back with we're not back, we're starting the Mind charity event, and this is a really, really awesome event. It's going to be a 3-hour race at Le Mans, which will emulate 24 hours of racing. So it will be an entire day of racing condensed into 3 hours. But the most important thing about that event is it's raising money for a very, very good cause. It's for the charity Mind. And for those of you who don't know what Mind does, they are a mental health charity based in the UK. And are focused on picking up the slack where the NHS is woefully underfunded. It's great. Look, it's great having an NHS in this country. I won't knock it in any way, shape or form. There are many countries in the world where you don't have the benefit of that kind of healthcare. But they do not treat mental health seriously. In fact, no country in the world treats mental health seriously. And it's one of the biggest killers. Outside, cancer aside, mental health is one of the biggest killers, particularly of men in the world at the moment. So we're just raising a little bit of money for this charity Mind. And, I would love to raise millions for them, but we're not going to do that. But we can raise a few £100 just to make lives better for, if we can help one person, then we've made a difference. So please come and join us for that. Even if it's just to pop on the stream and say hello, and share it with your friends. Other people pop in and say hello. And if you can share £1, if you can share £2, if you share £1,000, whatever it is, whatever you've got to share, give us a little. In the immortal words of Bob Geldof, give us your fucking money. Just something to help. But that's going to be. But that side is going to be an awesome race. A 24-hour at Le Mans is always going to be brilliant. And really looking forward to that. We should have a full lobby, although we have still got a couple of unconfirmed spaces available if you want to get involved with that. Then, of course, GT Champions is over. We had the finale of that, so that won't be happening in the early hours of Saturday morning. So my body clock can go back to sleeping at normal, regular UK hours. And the Lithuanian GR3 Championship might be over, but we are facing those boys now in an epic team versus team. It is the greatest drivers in Lithuania against the best that Black Flag have to offer, and their team has been announced. We will be announcing our team in the next day or so. They have already picked the settings and the track and the car for race number 1. We will announce ours later this week, but it's going to be another 4-race racing series. And we're going to start doing a lot more of these team versus teams, because not only are they good fun, but it does mix things up a little bit for everybody. Really good competition. And then, of course, then we're back here Monday for more of this GR4 lottery. So we are on the hot lap portion of race number 2. Looks like Kevin set his hot lap. Ozzy set his hot lap. It's 2:01. Kevin on pole yet again, 1:58.6. Doesn't quite emulate his heroics of race number 1, but looking pretty good for race number 2. And I don't think you can bet against him for this race either. Avalanche Shadow with a 2:01.1. That's a really good time in that Alpha, actually. Manx with a 2:01.5. Lot closer. Wiggy with a 2:02.4. So that's a very quick time from Wiggy. Bandit with a poor lap, actually, at 2:16. But I'm wondering if that is just the quality of the car. So we actually get to watch a race start this time because my internet has held out. So here we go. This is race number 2, Tokyo Expressway, the east portion of the course in the anti-clockwise direction, or counterclockwise if you're foreign. So let's jump out quick. Let's jump back in. And we are underway and racing here at Tokyo. And Fubar already making a move on Kevin up into first place. He was very strong in race number 1. Has worked our way to 1 stop this race in that Rooks, the WRX. And always a good outside bet when you look at things like that. So Kevin in third place as GMAC in the Beamer goes up into second. Kevin won't be worried. He'll find a way around sooner or later. And there's a big hit from... who was that? That was Fubar. Fubar just overshoots and loses out so many places. So Kevin up into the lead over GMAC. Stallfly up into third place. Fubar does recover into fourth, but he's got a bit of damage there, and he's got Avalon crawling all over the back of him. Can Avalon make this move? He just needs a little gap to make the move. He's trying to find it, but Fubar just holding the car in the right places. Very difficult to overtake on this portion of this racetrack. You really need the slipstream in order to make the overtakes. Aussie Mustang, a really good race number 1. Finished 4th place. Currently in 6th. Just off the back of Fubar and Avalon. Just outside that slipstream range. But if again he's on that one-stop strategy, he's not going to be too worried. He has got TJ just behind him in the McGann, looking to try and make a move. TJ2 stopping as he did in race number 1. So this will be it will form itself later once everyone's done their stops. There is Manx in the it's a beautiful looking car, the Citroen, but clearly a lot quicker in a straight line than it is round the corners, but very space age from inside that car. He is just under a second behind TJ. Right, so we head into the straights. This is where we want to see how quick the cars are. So Stormfly already 1 second behind Kevin. He's got GMAC tucked in very nicely behind him there. Can GMAC in the BMW make the move on the back of that Dodge Viper? He's closing that gap. Closing. Can he get closer before they go into the big 180 switchback? looks like he's ready to make the move here. Or is he just going to stay tucked in there to save a bit of fuel? So up into this 180, he's looking at the inside line, but Stormfly just so much later on the brakes, getting much, much closer to Kevin. G-Mac having to settle for sticking in third. Then 2.2 seconds back, Avalon Shadow makes the move around Fubar, up into fourth place. Aussie tucked in behind there as well. So fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh, all vying, at even eighth place there, Manx in eighth, all vying for a good position there. And that section is so quick in a straight line. Be afraid, be very afraid is what I will say. So this is the view from Manx, new driver to the ranks. New driver to the ranks, and his name is Manx. I don't even know. How about that? He's tucked in behind TJ right now. We will lose loads of time through here. We've seen how much time this section loses through this section, but it gains every single section of that back when it's in a straight line. And I just want to say you are very, very lucky that I don't have the webcam on. Not because I've got a face for radio, which is obviously the main reason, but because my house is already decorated like Santa's grotto. I love my missus very, very much, but her obsession with Christmas is bordering on obsession, like crazy, like OCD obsession. I have resisted having anything Christmassy in my little corner of the room, which I'm broadcasting from, but the rest of the front room looks like Santa Claus has had a big fat emptying of a sack all over my house. So be glad that there is no webcam. So where are we? G-Mac still holding out in third. Is he closer and ready to make a move on Stormfly this time? Certainly looks like it. He's going to pull out that slipstream. But again, no, not quite close enough. He's getting closer each time, but not ready to make the move. Is he going to be happy to sit in there in third place, maybe? Because the gap is opening up behind. But we know Fubar and we know that Aussie are both going to one-stop this. Avalon makes a move up into fourth. Aussie makes a move up into fifth. Can he make it stick? TJ following through. Fubar really losing out. Remember, Fubar took the lead of this race from the line. Had a big off at turn number 1 and 2. And it's cost him some places. But that's a good overtake there from both Avalon and Aussie. And Fubar fighting with Aussie. Does not want to give this up. So we've seen Avalon go through. We've seen Fubar go through. TJ's lost out. A couple of big crashes. He's crashed again, actually. What's going on with his car? Has he given up the Ghost here? Being that his name is now Ghost. Looks like he might have a technical problem to me. So Grizz will come round and most likely take this position. Could you get any closer, Grizz? Could you get any closer to the side of TJ when you came past there? I doubt it. He's 14 seconds behind Bandit, who is currently 9 seconds behind Wiggy in the Little Tykes Suzuki Swift. 2.9 seconds he's off the back of Manx. Manx is 7/10 off the back of Aussie Rooster. Remember that Aussie is going to be one-stopping this. So for him it's all about pace management now, not balls out. Fubar maintains 5th place, 1.1 seconds ahead of Aussie. Avalon Shadow has pulled out a big gap, and that is good for him. He had a big battle with Manx in race number 1 and just couldn't keep up with him when it came down to this long straight stretch. But the Alpha working better for him through the slower section. He's topping out far too early here, and I think just needs to look at his settings, maybe tweak them a little bit for the track and change things so it tops out a little bit later on the straight. Losing so much time in that straight. G-Mac is still battling closely with Stormfly. Is he closer this time? I don't think so. I think again the straight's going to run out before the opportunity presents itself. But we'll stay on board anyway. But this time, far too much to do, I think. And the gap will open up again, and we'll see what happens when it comes to the straight again. So Kevin in the lead, 2 seconds clear of Stormfly in the Dodge Viper. In the BMW, we've got G-Mac, that rocket BMW that has no black flag liveries on it. Naughty, you should know better, man. You've been around long enough. Avalon Shadow using the Alpha livery from our team versus team. This is the car that will feature on Wednesday evening against Bandit's other team, the Virtual Racers Club. 5 seconds clear of Fubar, but Fubar is going to run a little bit longer, and this will play into his hands further down the racetrack. Finished in the top 3 in second place last time. We'll never know where the Stormfly would have caught him because the settings were slightly off in the room. Aussie Rooster 1.4 seconds behind Fubar. Also a one-stopper. He's got Manx crawling all over the back of him. And this is where I think we're going to see Manx burn the Diablo, or the not Diablo, should I say, the Huracan, because it is so quick in a straight line, this Citroën, this little French car. Well, it's not a little French car, it's a big hulking beast of a French car. And there we go, side by side. And it's not often you see a Lamborghini in a straight line getting that done to it. But you will hear at Tokyo in that car, that Citroën. So he is up into 6th place and opening up not so much of a gap. Aussie seems to, towards the end of the straight, come back at him, and he has managed to get back past him. So as this Citroën tops out, the not Diablo carries on going, and he's going to make a move on Fubar here. He does, they touch, and that just gives Manx the impetus to get through. Manx does make it through, makes it past Aussie, can't quite make it past Fubar, has to settle for 6th, but Aussie losing out there. He went for the move on Fubar, and where they touched, it just unsettled both cars. We're on lap 5 here at Tokyo. Aussie Rooster in 7th, Wiggy running back in 8th place, 32 seconds clear of Grizz Troopers. Bandit in the pits, and we've lost TJ. And I'm assuming it's a baby issue, because he's not the sort to rage quit. It's not something he would usually do. And he's been racing pretty well. So let's just assume he's got a baby issue, because he did stop a couple of laps in. He does have a relatively new baby. So these things will happen. But there is your current race leader, Kevin 77. He's 2.3 seconds clear of Stormfly. And he doesn't have the fastest lap at the moment, though. That goes to GMAC in the BMW. He's found its racetrack. It's not been performing perfectly for him throughout this season, but he's finally found a track that suits its driving style. He's 1.3 seconds behind the Dodge Viper of Stormfly. He will need to pit at the end of this lap, though. If he decides to go in this time, he might hold it out for one more, but I think this is probably sensible pit alley. But no, he does stay out. He's going to give it one more lap of full beans before he comes in. Avalon, however, out of fuel, comes in end of lap 5. He really pushed that car in the first stint, so he's got to come in and Alpha. But the Alpha is a little bit fuel intensive. But we are 10 minutes into this race, 1/3 in. So if you're stopping now, you are definitely stopping again. Manx in, Wiggy in, Grizz Troopers, he will come in as well. Bandit has already been in. He is going. He went for the hard last time, didn't really work out for him. He's now on those medium compound tyres. Once Grizz goes in, he should regain 9th place in this race. No date change out front, apart from the fact the gap's come down a little bit. It's down to 1.7 seconds now for Kevin. Stormfly going well in there, but going to run out of fuel, so actually might have to pit a lap before Kevin does. 2.5 seconds back to GMAC, who has no tyres. There is no rubber left on that BMW. He is going to have to bounce that car home off the walls. And he might need to bounce it a lot because he has got very little fuel left. I think it was it bravery or stupidity is the question. And I'm wondering whether it was a little bit of both. He should just make it home before he dies. But there's no rubber on the rears. There's no rubber on the front. If he was having fun times with a lady right now, there would be nothing stopping him getting her pregnant, because there is no rubber to be found. 11 seconds clear of Fubar though, but Fubar will continue on past him for another lap. So Kevin in, Stormfly in, GMAC will come in. Aussie Rooster trying to move on Fubar. He does in that Not Diablo up into 4th. These two are going to carry on past the pit entrance and go another lap. These guys are one stopping this race yet again. Although this time the pace a little bit quicker at the beginning. And I apologise for the screaming you can hear, if you can hear it in the background. My 8-year-old is kicking off upstairs about something. She's clearly not got her own way, and that's why she's throwing her toys at the crowd. But I will find out in the break between races exactly what's been occurring. Avalon in 6th place, as we see Stormfly and G-Mac jumping into the pits. He's got Wiggy for company. Can Wiggy make anything of it in the Tommy Tippy Cup of a car? It's the Little Tykes, it's the Suzuki Swift. And he is actually getting a better performance out of this car than he was out of the Atenza. Or at least if he isn't, he's having more fun not getting performance out of it. But Avalon doing relatively well in this Alpha. Not the best track for this Alpha 155. And I think he could find his second place in the championship being challenged here today. But that's a good thing. That's what you want. You don't want the championship to be decided on day one. And we see that Manx makes it through past Wiggy. And that's to be expected. That car is so quick in a straight line. Much quicker than anything else on this racetrack today in a straight line. Wiggy tucked in behind him, trying to get as much slipstream as possible before it disappears. There is Bandit. He is 34 seconds back from Wiggy. Did pit a little bit earlier than everybody else, so he will run a little bit longer than everybody else. He's got Grid Troopers 18 seconds back. So Aussie Rooster in the lead of this race at the moment, with Fubar joining him. That is because they are one stopping this race. We will see them both peel off into the pits just on this lap, actually. Or maybe no, I don't think. What is Fubar brave enough to stay out another lap? That's the question. He's got the fuel to do it, and absolutely is. Fubar staying out another lap. So Aussie diving into the pits. Fubar stays out for another lap. Little bit concerned about those front tyres on the WRX, but in terms of fuel, he has got plenty. So he can hang this car out for one more lap, one stop this race. Where is Kevin in relation to the leader? He is 23 seconds. He's just coming past Aussie now. He is some way behind, but I'm not sure it's enough for Fubar to stay ahead. And if it is, I'm not sure Fubar's got the pace to keep him at bay. But he finished second in the last race with that one-stop strategy. Is he going to do this again? Where does Aussie come out in relation to the rest of these guys? Well, not necessarily where he comes out. It's where he finishes, because there are cars in front of him. They're going to have to pit again. There is Stormfly. He is on those racing soft tyres. He will have to pit again, I think. As will G to the Mac in the Beamer. Ran very well in stint number 1 in 3rd place. He will probably retain 3rd place when Fubar comes in, but only just. And he will have to pit before the end of this race once again. Avalon Shadow in the 155 will absolutely have to pit, and he's under some pressure from Manx. We saw this in the second stint last time. These two battling out again in the second stint here, with Manx putting the pressure on. He will lose out in this section. Avalon will be able to pull out a little bit of a gap through the twisty section. It's when they get to the straight that Manx will start to show his power. 2.5 back to the Little Tykes Suzuki Swift of Wiggy. He seems to be closing actually on Manx at the moment. Does this just show that? I think when Manx has engineered his car, has he engineered it too quick in a straight line and sacrificed some potential speed through over half the racetrack to gain a lot of speed on the straight? But yeah, he's going to pull away from Wiggy now. He's going to close up on Avalon now, but he's not got the slipstream on Avalon, which will give him the impetus to overtake. And this will allow Avalon, if he can maintain his pace, just to open it up every time they get round that big 180 turn in turns 1 and 2 and onto the twisty part of the racetrack. So FUBAR in the pits. We know this is his only pit stop. He's not going to be worried that loads are feeling past. The only person he doesn't want to see go past him is Aussie Rooster. And at the moment, that's not happening. Where is Aussie though? Here comes Aussie. Here is FUBAR. FUBAR will not want to see that Aussie going ahead of him. It means he's got some work to do. The only saving grace will be that his tyres will be a little bit stronger come the end of this race, because Aussie did pit a lap, in fact 2 laps earlier than FUBAR did. Or was it a lap? I think it was a lap earlier. It was a lap earlier. Ignore me, I'm talking bullshit. So there's your leader, 2.9 seconds clear in the Porsche Cayman. Never in doubt for that man there. The Greek wizard, the demon of speed that is Kevin 77. Stallfly VR 46. He's also very, very quick. He's in that Dodge Viper, but he can't dodge past Kevin. Dodged ahead of everybody else, but can't dodge past Kevin. He does have the fastest lap of the race though, with a 1:58.0. And G to the Mac in the BM to the W. He is 15 seconds back in 3rd place. Is he going to be under some pressure from Avalon Shadow soon? G-Mac's been very comfortable in 3rd for a long proportion of this race. He got the car out there and hung it out there and kept it there. He's still going to have to pit again. He's touched the wall, which means he's not going to be going full pelt. Well, he has now repaired itself, but he wasn't full pelt up until that stage. And now we've got Avalon, who's cut that gap now to 2.6 seconds. We know Avalon's going to lose out a little bit here in the straight. And Manx will probably close that up. But Manx, he's so far off the pace through sectors 2 and 3 that Avalon is able to keep the distance. Because although we'll see Manx close this up, and it'll be well under 2 seconds by the time we get to turns 1 and 2, and maybe even down to a second. But he can't keep up the same pace through sector 2 and 3. And that just allows Avalon to pull off up the road. See, as we said, look, closes it right down on the straight, gets into turns 1 and 2, and then off Avalon will go, and that gap, big lock up there from Manx, man. That's not what you want when you are trying to chase down a further position up the racetrack with a guy that's slower than you in a straight line. But here we go. We'll start to see this open up a little bit from Avalon. As the twistier the track gets, the more we see that Citroen struggle. Wiggy's got problems. I think his problems are mainly straight line speed. I don't think he's struggling through this section. I think when it comes to asking this car for a bit of grunt in a straight line, the car just goes, can't be bothered. And he's 5.2 seconds back from the battle between Avalon and Manx for 4th. He is, however, 5.2 seconds clear of Aussie Rooster right now, who is 2.4 second clears of FUBAR. These two are very, very likely to be in that top 3 once everybody else starts to pit. So Grizz Troopers is in the pits. Bandit is also in the pits. Where do these two come out? At the minute, Bandit is slightly ahead of Grizz, or was when he came in anyway. So it's all about who's braver with the fuel and where they come out, and if Grizz Troopers can close on the back of Bandit. Bandit is leaving the pits now, which leaves Grizz Troopers still there. Stormfly going for his second stop. In he goes. Kevin's already gone through, hasn't stayed there. G-Mac will take second place in this race, but will need to stop again. As we see Avalon pitting. Manx also pitting. So Stormfly, Avalon, Manx all in. Kevin stays out. G-Mac stays out. Wiggy into the pits. Aussie will stay out. FUBAR will definitely stay out. Bandit and Grizz have already pit. So it's just now Kevin and G-Mac that need to give us a little pit stop. And I think we'll see that happen this lap. In fact, I think Kevin has... no, he can't have done it. He hasn't got enough fuel to go to the end. Absolutely not. I think Kevin will dive in. He'll grab some more fuel. He'll run to the end of this race. But not on this lap. Well, maybe on this lap, actually. There is G-Mac. He stayed out for another lap. He will have to pit again. He can't make this to the end. Certainly not with those tyres. And certainly not with that fuel. So Aussie Rooster. He was 2.4 seconds ahead of FUBAR. That's now down to half a second as FUBAR starts to close this gap. These two are really, really good outside bet for second and third in this race with that one-stop strategy. Aussie just losing out last time out. FUBAR stayed in second, but I think that was more about the virtue of the fact we had a 30-second race ending than it was about pace, because Stormfly was closing him down towards the end of that race at a rate of knots as well. So here we go, FUBAR looking for a move around Aussie. He's certainly closed up the gap. He's made that move. Can he make it stick? Yes, he can. FUBAR up into that top three. Kevin into the pits. We'll see GMAC also pulling into the pits. And then see these two maybe going through. So if I don't keep my throat wet, it gets really, really sore. So there is GMAC. Will he pull over to the left-hand side, or is he going to go again? Nope. GMAC goes again for another lap. We know FUBAR will. We know Aussie will. Kevin's still in the pits. He's coming out now. Where's FUBAR? Just entering the tunnel. He's too far back. So he will be running in second once GMAC takes his pit. Aussie 1.5 seconds back, running in fourth. Then we've got 2.8 seconds to Stormfly. Now we know that Stormfly put the charge on in the last race to close down second place from third. Didn't quite have enough time to do it, but I think certainly had the impetus to do it. Can he do it again this time? That's the big question. This time he's got to overtake two cars though. Last time it was just FUBAR. This time he's got Aussie and FUBAR to get past. And he's got to do it in the next 4 laps. There is Manx. He's ahead of Avalon. And we know he's ahead of Avalon because we're at the end of the straight. Avalon will then close up back on him. Maybe make a move through the twisty section. And then it will all happen again. Another big lock-up from Manx. Coming out of that big turn 1 and 2 at the top of the long straights. Avalon going to close up now. And will he make a move though? That's the question. Will he be able to get enough impetus through this section to make a move up on Manx when they come into sector 3 stroke sector 1? 11 seconds back to Wiggy. His job today is literally just damage limitation, really. It is till the end of the tournament. I do think we need to make slight changes to GR4 lottery. I think the jeopardy of having such a bad car for the season, it doesn't bode too well. We've had a few people that have bowed out because they haven't been happy with the car. It's fair enough. If you don't want to stay and race with us, that's absolutely fine. It's where they've gone on to race afterwards. It's been a little bit mind-boggling. But it is their choice, shall we say. So GMAC finally does go into the pits. Kevin does finally take the lead in this race. Where is FUBAR? So FUBAR will come through. He will move up into second. Stormfly's already ahead of Aussie. He'll move up into third. Aussie move up into fourth place. GMAC demoted down to fifth. Stayed out far too long. Should have pitted much earlier. Is he going to lose at Avalon? Of course not. Avalon is too worried about losing out to Manx here, and I think Manx is going to make this move with this slipstream, and he already did before I could even flick across. He'd made the move. That's how quickly that car goes, and there's nothing Avalon can do to stop him. The speed of the Citroen, 184. The speed of the Alpha 155, 170. Let's go 169 so we can go 69. Because it's really childish, and that's what we love. So Kevin in the lead, 9.2 seconds clear. You're boring. No, I'm only joking, Kev. I'm only joking. Watching you is a dream, buddy. It's what everybody on this racetrack aspires to do in a racing car. FUBAR is 9.9 seconds back. Stormfly a lot closer this time than he was at this stage in the previous race, and we now have the correct race delay, so the leaders might actually get to finish the race this time, which would be awesome, and which would give Stormfly a much better opportunity of making a move on FUBAR in that WRX and nicking a second place. He only managed third last time out. FUBAR with his, I think that actually is FUBAR's first podium since joining us. And congratulations to you for doing that. I'm sure it's your first podium. I could be wrong. And if I need to be corrected, then please do so. But I don't know what happened there. It looks like Stormfly had a problem, because I'm sure he was a lot closer than that. He's now 6.7 seconds back. G-Mac is ahead of Aussie. Aussie not, I say not making it work for him, but he is behind G-Mac. He's looking to make a move. He's got the slipstream, but he does have to look after tyres. He does have to look after fuel. G-Mac doesn't care about things like that. G-Mac is not concerned with looking after anything. He just wants to wear it out, throw it away and get a new one. Just like he's from The Only Way is Essex. Because that's how the Muppets operate, isn't it? So here we go. G-Mac doesn't have the inside line. Aussie does. He makes it relatively look easy as Aussie. But I think G-Mac is going to be the one laughing in the long run. He does stay ahead though. So Kevin, 11.8 seconds clear of Fubar. Under no pressure from Stormfly now. The gap is 6 seconds. So whatever big cock up Stormfly had, and it was an expensive one because he went from doing the fastest lap of the race with a 1:57.6 to a 2:04.66.3, which is incredibly slow, even by let's have a look. Even by sort of Grizz Trooper standards, that's a 2:05.6, and we see Stormfly did a 2:04.6, so he was a second slower, but he's usually normally 4 or 5 seconds slower than Stormfly, so clearly Stormfly had a problem. 12.9 seconds to lead there. Fubar still holding off, and we'll do to the end of this race. We are one more lap, so it's one more lap for Kevin, one more lap for Fubar, one more lap for Stormfly. Is there one more lap for G-Mac? I think so this time. I think this time he's going to do that extra lap just to keep that 4th place. Aussie is the big question mark. He's close enough behind him, I think. I think it's one more lap for Aussie. So we had 4 on the lead lap at the end of the last race. We are going to get 5 on the lead lap at the end of this race. Or are we? 15 seconds to cross that line, or it is over. There he goes. He crosses. He makes it through. Top 5 through. So we will watch Manx cross the line and finish in 6th place, while Avalon up behind him trying desperately to find a way through. And we'll see that Grizz has finished. Here comes Manx home in 6th place. Avalon home in 7th. Wiggy will come home in 8th. Grizz Troopers home in 10th, but only on lap 14. We'll see Bandit finish the end of lap 14. Lap 15, sorry. And he will take 9th place. But there is Kevin, the man of the hour, the man in the Cayman, the guy you have to beat. And at the moment, he just can't be beaten. 13.5 seconds clear, race number 2. It is 2 races from 2 so far. Soon, I have no doubt it will be 3 races from 3. Fubar Fernández, another great performance from him in that WRX. He noticed today after, how many races has he been racing before he noticed? This is what, I think he's been here long enough for me to be able to take the piss. So Fubar has done, he joined us in round 6. He got 30 points from round 6. He got 7 points from round 7. Or did he join us in round 4? Well, either way, he's been doing pretty well. And then he realised that he didn't even have a racing gearbox on his car. And it's made a massive difference, because here he is finishing in 2nd place in this race. So Kevin wins 13 seconds from Fubar. Here he comes across the line in 2nd. Stormfly did close the gap by 3 seconds, but not enough. 3.5 seconds back for Stormfly. G-Mac, he made the final lap this time. Slowed down before the last lap last time. I didn't have enough fuel, but here he come in 4th place. Good solid performance from him, just outside that top 3. And Aussie Rooster, Los Polos, and Bandit leaving the room. So Aussie is through. So Bandit has left the room. I'm assuming he told the guys he couldn't make it. I'd hate to think that he's joined us already and already is quitting races. But you know, it's three half-hour races here, so some people can't make the last race of the series. It is what it is. But that is your final classification, Kevin. From Fubar, from Stormflyer, from GMAC, Aussie Rooster, Manx, Avalon Shadow, Wiggy, and then Grizz Troopers. So all done and dusted for race number 2. One race left to go. That's race number 3. That is slowest first rolling start. Always throws up a little bit of excitement in that last half an hour. So we will be back shortly with the qualifying and the slowest first final race of GR4 Lottery.
Mental health problems affect 1 in 4 of us. Join Mind now in the fight for mental health. Mental health problems affect 1 in 4 of us. Join Mind now in the fight for mental health.
A donation of £20 could help 167 people take their first steps in getting mental health support through Mind's booklets.
Mental health problems affect 1 in 4 of us. Join Mind now in the fight for mental health.
So we are back, everyone's had their little break. One more hot lap, one more race. It is a reverse grid type scenario this time with the slowest first. We will find out where everyone slots in. We've lost a couple from this race. Oh, TJ is back. He must have disappeared off his baby issues. He's back now for race number 3, which is good. We have lost Bandit though, unfortunately. It is what it is. I'm sure that everyone knows why he's left and what have you. Not worried about that in the slightest. So, everyone on their outlap. Just want to talk very quickly about the Formula 1 at the weekend, because it's no secret my views on Lewis Hamilton and what a big baby bellend he is. Mainly because he's a liar more than anything else, is that he makes his claim that he's some poor boy and he had no advantages and he was so oppressed all the way through his career, when that just clearly wasn't the truth. So I've always thought he was a bit of a bellend. And you know, I follow Max and I follow Lando. They're the two guys that I really want to see do well. But I did support Max through his win last season, and I've supported him, you know, through this season. But he has demonstrated that he belongs in the big fat knob box alongside Lewis Hamilton. The pair of them deserve each other, because his team, Max would not have won the championship last year if not for his teammate, and it would have been a much closer run thing this season if not for his teammate. And he should be now doing whatever he can to help his teammate beat Charles Leclerc, and he hasn't. He didn't do that. He refused to give him the place back at the weekend, and that for me has taken him so far down in my estimation that I hope he never wins another world championship. For me, it's got to be George Russell now is where I'm putting my eggs. And little Lando. I hope Lando comes good and McLaren give him a much more competitive car. They're going to give him a better teammate, because let's face it, I'm quicker than Ricciardo is now. Ricciardo is well past his best. But that's my little dig about the weekend, and we'll move on to some GT racing here on Gran Turismo 7. So everyone now on their... Yeah, everyone's done their out lap, everyone's on their hot lap. G-Mac will be the first one to set a time. Runs really well in the first and second stint, but seems to lose out, particularly to Fubar and Aussie. Fubar and Aussie run very, very well, because they can one-stop this race with their setup. it gives them such an advantage going into the final stage of this race. So while it looks like they drop down the order as everyone in front of them pits, Kevin is the only one that seems to be able to stay ahead completely. Aussie has lost out to Stormfly. Stormfly's been able to get ahead of him and keep that momentum going. But here is GMAC, 158.1. That's a very, very good lap from GMAC. Wiggy with a 201.2. Manx with a 201.2 also, but a little bit faster. Avalon, he'll cross the line. That's a 202.1. Fubar with a 157.8. What a lap from Fubar. That is a very, very good lap from him. Now, if he can maintain that kind of pace and do a one stop, then actually Kevin needs to be afraid, be very afraid. Here we go. We've got, where is Aussie? Aussie has come out with a 2-minute .2. So third on the grid. Avalon fourth. Manx in fifth. Wiggy will be sixth at 201.2. Grizz Troopers next across the line. He gives us a 216.0. Slow lap from him. Kevin did not go faster than Fubar. And Stormfly just 5 hundredths off Fubar's time. But it is reverse grid. So Grizz Troopers will lead everybody out. That's going to be key for him. TJ, the last one to set a lap. He'll cross the line, and that is a 203.2. So, going to be interesting here because we're going to see Wiggy, we're going to see Grizz Troopers, we're going to see TJ, we're going to see those guys sitting at the front of the grid this time. And the irony is Fubar sets the hottest lap of the day, well, pretty much, and isn't going to be on pole because it is a reverse grid, and it should be rolling start. And it looks to me like they've done a grid start instead, which isn't quite right. But yeah, we're gonna tweak into the new year. We're gonna tweak these issues with little mistakes in the lobbies and improve it. Oh, no, it is rolling start. My bad. So here we go. Grizz leads them out, and I can't see a thing. Why does that not surprise me? There we go. So Grizz Troopers in the lead of this race. How long does he stay in the lead of this race? TJ already making a move on him. TJ up into the lead. Wiggy in third. No, he's not. Manx is in third. Wiggy just tucked in behind him. Can Manx pick up a podium in his first race with Black Flag? That would be something, wouldn't it? I don't think anyone's done that yet. And we're not counting when we started because we were all from one place when we started. So TJ 1.4 seconds clear in the Renault Megane. 1.5 from Manx, who in the straight on this track is phenomenal. He's got Stormflies already beat his way apart through the field up into third, up into second, and Avalon up into third. Manx dropping down into fourth place. He is side by side with Avalon. Gives that up, tucks in behind. He knows that his race is going to be on the straights. There is Kevin, tucked in behind him, trying to find a way through here. He really wants to get up after Stormfly, up after TJ. Big crash there from Grizz Troopers. He will drop down the order more and more there. We've got Fubar down to 6th place, or sorry, up to 6th place, shall I say. Sticking with Kevin, sticking with Manx as we come round to complete lap 1. There's GMAC running in 7th. Wiggy has fallen down through the order to 8th place. Aussie Rooster in 9th. He's got some significant work to do as Aussie from there. His biggest rival on the racetrack at the moment is Fubar, who's up in 6th place. But Stormfly takes the lead of this race from TJ as they go into the straight. It's Stormfly from TJ, from Avalon, from Kevin, from Fubar, from Manx, from GMAC, and they're all getting slipstream off each other at the moment. But Manx is the one to watch here, who'll make the move past Fubar without question with that straight line speed of the Citroën. And here they go into the tunnel. Manx will move up into 5th place past Fubar, but don't count Fubar out just yet. Remember, he's going to one-stop this race, and he will be there or thereabouts come the end of this 30 minutes. These, 16, 15 laps or whatever it is. So Stormfly retains the lead from TJ, but only just. TJ is 3/10 behind. Kevin's made his way up into third. He's already getting in the business end of things. Avalon staying in fourth. He's got Manx behind him in fifth. GMAC running in sixth place in the BMW. Fubar is 4/10 back from GMAC. He did lose out a couple of places in the straight there this time at Tokyo East. And it's such a complicated track. And it's complicated because you've got to balance your car so that you've got some great straight line speed, but then you've got to be able to maintain that same kind of pace in the twisty section at the other side of the track. And while you've only got one really big braking zone to worry about, you do have to concern yourself with just looking after the fuel and the tyres and the throttle and the brakes through that section. Not braking too much that you lose momentum, but not clipping walls on the way through. And Grizz Troopers losing out, lost out to Aussie Rooster. Aussie Rooster is currently still stuck behind Wiggy. Wiggy up in 8th place in the Little Tykes Suzuki Swift. As we complete lap 2, or coming up to complete lap 2, Stormfly will be still in the lead of this race. He's 2.6 seconds clear now, and opening up a bit of a gap. And the more gap he can make on Kevin, the better at this stage, because it gives Kevin a little bit more work to do. He has made his way around TJ. He is up into 2nd place. He's out of slipstream range of Stormfly with some work to do. TJ has the slipstream from Kevin. Can he close up on him? These two do have some right battles when they are on the same part of the racetrack. Can they keep their heads and get this done? I think once the straight's over, I think then we'll see Kevin just pulling away from TJ. Avalon 2 seconds back in 4th. He has got Manx behind him. Manx has got GMAC on the outside of him. Can GMAC make this move? Fubar's also involved there. GMAC has made the move and got just ahead. But Manx holds off, moves back into 5th. So it's Manx from GMAC, from Fubar, all fighting for 5th place here. And we'll go on board with Fubar as we watch through here. We know that Manx is not as strong through here as most of these other cars. And Fubar won't be worried being 7th there at the moment, because he's going to see every car in front of him pit before he needs to. So he will briefly lead this race after about lap 6 or 7. So no danger for him. He doesn't have to push too hard. If he can gain another place now, I'm sure you'll say thank you very much. But he knows he doesn't necessarily have to worry too much. There is his biggest rival on the racetrack. He's 2.1 seconds back, he's Aussie. He's now got himself around Wiggy, around Grizz Troopers, and that frees him just to try and get involved in that battle for 5th place. And Manx loses out. He clips the wall. A very crucial point, actually, and that lets GMAC through. Manx will have a good run with the slipstream, but he's got Fubar tucked in there with him. He's going to make use of that as much as he can. Avalon's starting to pull away from that group and stick with TJ in 3rd. So it is still Stormfly 2.8 seconds clear of Kevin, who has won the first 2 races so far, quite significantly as well. Fastest man on the track is Stormfly, of course, with a 1:58.4. That gap is 2.9 seconds. Then it's a further 2.9 seconds back to TJ in the McGann, who has Avalon Shadow 1.4 seconds back and closing in the Renault McGann. Then we've got the BMW of GMAC just losing out to Manx at the end of the straight. But GMAC with the inside line, can he take this position back? Yes, he can. And again, we see every time Manx comes around that corner, he locks up that left rear tyre. They're side by side, and straight line speed for that Citroen is always going to win out. But then we'll see the agility of the BMW, the agility of that WRX, peeing all over the straight line speed of the Citroen. And we've got 2 French cars out there today, and they're both running at the moment in the top 5, which is very unusual because French cars are usually a big pile of rubbish. But we've out in front, we've got the Dutchman Stormfly in the American car, the Dodge Viper. He's opened up that gap to 3.4 seconds now and still going quick. A couple of laps left for him before the pit window opens. Same for Kevin. Kevin's actually gone slightly different this time. He's gone medium tyres, but again, the fuel's not going to hold out to the halfway point, I don't think. So he's going to have to two-stop this, which is a bit of a shame. Because I think if he could one-stop this, it would make all the difference. He's 3.6 seconds now back from Stormfly. But 4.8 seconds up from Avalon, who is keeping TJ at bay in that beautiful, beautiful Italian car. And 5.0 seconds is the gap to Kevin. That's not a gap he's going to make up anytime soon. He's going to have TJ crawling right in behind him as they come down the straight, and TJ is making use of that slipstream, but not enough. He's not going to be close enough to make a move into turn 1. Then we go 4 seconds back to G-Mac, and it's G-Mac, Fubar and Manx all batted out. Fubar looking for a way through. He's using that slipstream of G-Mac to pull himself past Manx. This time, Manx, despite the straight line speed, can't hold off the charge of the BMW and the WRX. And we come into turn 1. G-Mac goes through. Fubar makes the move. Fubar up into the lead briefly. G-Mac back in, the lead of this pack anyway. G-Mac back into 5th place. It is a 3-way battle for 5th, 6th and 7th here, and this battle will continue raging, but it will be advantage Fubar, because Fubar is going to take this to 15 laps, 15 minutes in. But TJ also really looking after those tyres. His fuel is letting him down. If he could save a bit more fuel, he could have one-stopped this as well, because the tyre's not taking too much abrasive damage. They're in 4th place. We go a little bit further back. There's Aussie Rooster. This is the battle he can see ahead. He can see these 3 cars fight it out, and as they fight it out, he's closing the gap on them and making this a 4-way battle. What about Wiggy? What can Wiggy see? He can see the back of the Not Diablo. He knows what's going on ahead, but doesn't know what his car can give him to get involved in that battle as we round the last 2 corners to start lap 6 of this race. And as we start lap 6, we'll come to the end of lap 5 certainly. Here is Stormfly. He will peel off to the left hand side. Into the pits he goes. Kevin will go straight on through. He's on those medium tyres. He can run another couple of laps, and there Kevin goes. He is in the lead of this race from Stormfly. Avalon Shadow will come through and into the pits. TJ follows him in. G-Mac stays out for another lap. Here, there he goes. Fubar, we know he's staying out. He is stuck behind G-Mac, and he's up into 3rd now. Aussie Rooster also running to that midway point for the one stop. He's up into 4th. Everybody else in the pits, apart from this man here, Grizz Troopers, he's 1 minute 19 seconds back from the leader of this race, and 103 back from Wiggy, who is currently in the pits. So it's all go here in this 3rd race here of the GR4 lottery. Kevin in the leader's race from Greece in the German Porsche Cayman, 14.8 seconds clear of G-Mac from the United Kingdom in the German BMW. He is minuscule amounts of time ahead of Fubar Philantis from the United Kingdom in that Japanese Scooby WRX. 1.3 seconds back to Andrew Aussie Rooster from Torquay in Devon in the Italian Stallion. This is the Lamborghini Huracan. 1.1 seconds back. Then 27 seconds back to Stormfly, the Dutch Maestro in the American-made Dodge Viper. Very, very good car this, to be fair, especially in a straight line. Then 13 seconds back to the Welsh Wizard that is Wiggy. Wiggy the Welsh Wizard in the Tommy Tippy Suzuki Swift. Had the Atenza, hated that, switched it out, couldn't get more unlucky, got this car instead. And but to be fair, he's racing in it week in, week out, and he's making something of it in that car, and he's currently ahead of Avalon Shadow, who is in the Alpha 155. Avalon Shadow being the German Serbian based in Spain, racing in the Italian Alpha 155 as Kevin goes into the pits for his first of 2 pit stops. And there is TJ, another Dutch driver, changed his name to Ghost, driving in the French Renault Megane. Manx from, I'm assuming if he's from the Isle of Man, being his name is Manx. That would be a very, very good guess. The Isle of Man in the United Kingdom. He rolled his car for the first time today. He rolled himself a French car. He rolled himself this Citroen GT, which in a straight line is like very runny turd off a very well-oiled shovel. He's 33 seconds back behind G-Mac. He is on those racing soft tyres, and he is 18 seconds ahead of Grizz Troopers, our American connection, the paramedic from the United States in the Italian Ferrari 458, and driving it very, very well. There is Fubar in the lead from Aussie. We know these two only one stop, so they do take this car a little bit longer than others. Aussie will go in before Fubar. Aussie will come in this lap. Fubar will do, or actually it might be the other way around this time. It might be that Fubar needs to come in this lap where he's just been pushing that little bit harder with being up with the big boys. I think they're both coming in this lap, which will mean that their tyres will be a little bit struggling towards the end of the race. So will they both come in? I mean, fuel-wise, they could probably stay out, but tyre-wise, it would be risky. For me, too risky. But there we go. Neither of them look like they're going to the left-hand side of this track. So they are both continuing on for one more lap here, determined to take it past the halfway point and give themselves the best possible chance. Aussie with the slipstream, looking to make the move on Fubar, and breezes past in that Not Diablo for the first time in this race, is in the lead of this race. And Aussie Rooster from Fubar, 18 seconds back to Stormfly in that Dodge Viper, the fastest man on the track with a 157.8. 6.5 seconds back to Kevin, 77 in the Porsche Cayman. Do not count this guy out. Never count him out. No matter how far behind you think he might be, he's always in it to win it. 12 seconds ahead of Wiggy in the Tommy Tippy car, the Suzuki Swift, the little Tykes Wonder, the car that should never be in GR3 in a million freaking years. This car in GR3 only makes sense if every other person is driving this same car, and that's a big downslide for GT7. Graphics 10 out of 10, sounds 10 out of 10, car balance freaking awful, lobby quality ropey at best, but we will still come back. That's the problem. We love it so much that we put up, you know, it's like being married to someone that over the years you've noticed they've got lots of bad habits. You love it so much you kind of stick with it even though shit is going wrong. And that's kind of our relationship with Gran Turismo 7. Avalon Shadow in 6th place. He is 1.7 seconds back in that Alpha 155. He's got TJ 1.9 behind him. TJ was running much better in the first stint of this race, but he is in a much better position than Avalon right now. Avalon's going to go into the pits in a couple of laps' time because of the state of those tyres. It looks like TJ is going for... I thought he was going to go for a one-stopper, but he's not managing now. So, excuse me, Aussie and Fubar both going to the pit. Stormfly will take the lead. We'll see Kevin also going through. Here he goes. He'll take 2nd place. They both need to stop again, though. Both Stormfly and Kevin need to stop in this race again. Aussie will not. Fubar will not. Will Wiggy come through in 5th place? Yes, he will. Wiggy up into the top 3. He would desperately love this race to finish now. That would be some finish in that car. Avalon also through. TJ also through. What about Manx? He's not having the best race of the evening here. But he is through, along with GMAC, who he's got for company. And then comes Aussie, then comes FUBAR. So Aussie a little bit braver with the fuel, just under fuel by a little smidgen. Felt he could go to the end with just a little bit less fuel. And Grizz Troopers, there he is at the rear of the pack, fighting as he always does, never giving up. And big credit to Grizz Troopers for that. Right, so Stormfly in the lead, 7.6 seconds is the gap back to Kevin 77. And this is an unusual scenario from what we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing Kevin ahead at this stage. But, as I've said, do not count him out. If he is up for the fight, he will absolutely bring it. Even if he's not up for it, he'll still bring it. And you will find that gap will be smaller. The question will be, though, where will we find Aussie Rooster and FUBAR when it comes to it? They're currently running in 8th and 9th place. Pace a little bit quicker out in front than we are used to seeing. But everybody else needs to stop again. Stormfly definitely, Kevin definitely, Wiggy most definitely, Avalon definitely, TJ definitely. His tyres are going to last, but his fuel will not. GMAC also will, but he might run a little bit longer. Manx will also need to pit again, and then we'll see where we're at. So the gap to the leader at the moment for Aussie is 41.0 seconds. He's got FUBAR half a second behind him, 41.6 back from the lead of this race. The question is, how much pace can they put in when the others are pitting? Can they close that gap up? Because that's not going to be enough to guarantee both of these guys the top three. They may have to fight it out between them to get that top 3 spot. Avalon dives in for his last pit stop. Aussie and Rooster through there. Avalon down to 9th place. There are still more to pit. Look at FUBAR in the slipstream, making a move on Aussie. He pulls out, but that not Diablo is just so quick. But FUBAR makes the move side by side into turn 1. They both into the braking zone. FUBAR with that inside line. Can he get the car moved out of the way? He can. Aussie tucks in behind. These two have had a great battle all day. These two battled it out with their one-stop strategy. And I bet the pair of them went into this race thinking, no one else is going to one-stop this, aren't they? And it's turned out to be a great battle between them two. That is the kind of racing I want to get involved in. At the moment, I'm just too slow for any of that shit. But it'd be good if there were 2 or 3 people in the lobbies that people like Grizz and myself and Jay and to an extent Phil, who's quicker than all of us, could get involved in and have this kind of battle on the racetrack for an entire race. And it might not be that we're up racing doing that kind of pace in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. We know that that's not our pace. What we do know is that we'd love to be doing this further down the order and not sitting 25 seconds behind a guy that's absolutely melting you every single race. So Stormfly goes in for his 2nd stop. He's done that 6.6 seconds clear of Kevin. Kevin will stay out. He doesn't need to pit just yet. He will need to pit before the end of this race. Very doubtful that fuel is going to take him until the end. I can't see how he's going to make it last. If he does, then what a masterstroke of racing genius that is. But I can't see it. Not looking at how much the fuel depletes here. So Wiggy also into the pits. Where's TJ? Is he going to pull in? He does. He pulls into the pits as well. GMAC will continue on. Through he goes. He's up into 2nd place. Where's Stormfly? Here comes Stormfly, just ahead of Manx, just ahead of FUBAR, just ahead of Aussie. This is a 3-man race now for 4th place at the moment. Aussie dropped off the pace of Stormfly a little bit. FUBAR ahead of him 1.5 seconds, but he doesn't need to stop again, does FUBAR. His tyres are slightly off Stormfly. I think Stormfly is going to be in a very, very strong position to retake this. But will FUBAR make a move around Manx? He certainly won't do it on this straight. Manx is so quick in this section. Sector 1 belongs to Manx. It's when it comes into Sector 2 that things start to change. And this is where FUBAR can really close up on him. Sector 1, not so much. But Sector 2, that Citroen just does not have the pace. It looks like a spaceship it can only drive in straight lines like a spaceship. Not very good in the bends. So FUBAR is going to close this up. But not before Stormfly makes a very, very bold, very brave move. Wobbly, wobbly, wobbly though. And they touch. Stormfly through FUBAR, wobbly, wobbly. He had every right to go for that. He could see Stormfly was wobbling. He does get the car back under control, as does FUBAR. Kevin into the pits. I think G-Mac is going to follow him in. I think this has got a bit of time to go in. The longer you stay out, the worse it seems to be for you in the BMW. So what are you going to do, Mr. G-Mac? Are you going to stay out? It looks to me like he might be certainly doing that. He doesn't look to be pulling over to that left-hand side anytime soon. So Stormfly is now ahead of Manxman. We've got ahead of FUBAR. We've got ahead of Manxman. Stormfly is really looking racy here. Where's Kevin? Kevin comes out, and he's come out in the lead of this race. What does Stormfly have to do to beat this guy? It just seems that whatever Stormfly does, no matter how far ahead he is, Kevin just has this knack of nicking it off you. And he doesn't even need to overtake you to do it. He just toys with you and then takes home all the bacon. And it's not fair, you need to share that bacon. But 3.1 seconds is the gap. Stormfly in second. That means Aussie and FUBAR are going to have to fight this out amongst themselves for third place. Unless, of course, G-Mac can find 22.5 seconds to get involved. And I'll tell you what now, I will bet my hat on it that that's not going to fucking happen. G-Mac is going to have to settle for 5th place. If he can hold off, of course, TJ and Wiggy. And Wiggy, who's holding off Avalon at the moment. How long can he hold Avalon off for? That's the question. Or can he actually put pressure on TJ? And we've got to say, go Wiggy in the Suzuki Swift. I was going to call it something horrible. But when it's running up in 7th and challenging another car, you've got to give it a little bit of kudos. And that kudos is ever more deserved as he gets closer and closer to the back of TJ. And they're really closing up on here in the Swift. This little Titus car is doing a big man's job. And I always refer to it as a little car that could. And it looks like it might be the little car that will get himself into the top 6. It's going to have to be done before the straight because I think that McGann is going to have a bit more pace. Unless, of course, the Tommy Tippy cup of a car gets tucked in to the boot of that McGann when they move on to the straight. So it is Kevin from Stormfly, from Stormfly, from Aussie. I was going to say from FUBAR then, but Aussie takes 3rd, FUBAR in 4th, G-Mac in 5th, TJ 6th, and we're watching Wiggy with a great exit onto the straight into that slipstream. He's going to make a move on TJ, or is he? It really depends. I mean, we look at what gear. I mean, TJ's still in 5th gear, has still got another gear to flick up into. Wiggy's in his top gear already and reaching top speed. He's going to start to see the McGann just pull away a little bit, and he just cannot get any more straight line speed out of that car. But he's opening up the gap from Avalon. He's beating Avalon. He's beating Manx. Manx not having a good race at all this time out. He's back in 9th place. Gridstrip's back in 10th place. And Kevin just storming through. Currently leading by 3.9 seconds he is. It just makes you sick to that, this guys. There is Stormfly. He's coming up to lap Grid Troopers. Grid Troopers will let him through. No danger of that. Through comes Stormfly in the Viper. 4.7 clear of Aussie. And this battle is going to rage on. It's FUBAR and Aussie battling it out for 3rd place here. Aussie wants to consolidate a top 3 spot. And he can do that today with his results so far and with a good strong finish here. He wants to finish ahead of FUBAR, but FUBAR again taking 3rd place from him. And what great racing from these two. It's been very fair, it's been very close, but most of all it's been very, very fast. Aussie Rooster's fastest lap is a 2:03.58. FUBAR's been a 1:59.6. In terms of pace, you can't really separate them. They've been so close. Neither of them going to challenge the top 2. Top 2, Kevin 4.1 clear, Stormfly 6.3 clear. Neither of them are going to challenge those two guys as we head into the last couple of laps. So we know Kevin's going to make one more lap after this one. We know Stormfly will, as Kevin puts in the fastest lap of the race with a 1:57.4. At the same time as Stormfly doing a 1:57.5. Aussie Rooster again ahead of Fubar. How long can he hold him off for as they now come up to lap Grizz Troopers? So Grizz Troopers will go very wide here into the final turn. Get out of the way and let those guys through. And that's very, very sporting of him to let them through like that. So can Fubar now make the move? He's in that slipstream, but he hasn't got a huge amount of it. Can he close up on the Not Diablo? In terms of tyres, how are they looking? Very similar. In terms of fuel, Fubar with a little bit more, but they've both got enough to make the end of this race without too much problems. But Fubar can't make this move. He is closer, but not enough. And the Scooby quicker through here, and then the Huracan quicker through sectors 3 to 1. 4.8 seconds clear for Kevin. Now 8.7 seconds to Stormfly. Aussie Rooster third. Finbar is in fourth. GMAC in fifth place, 23 seconds back. He's not going to challenge that top four. He is going to, however, stay away from TJ, 3.5 seconds back from him. Wiggy is still crawling on the back of TJ and still potentially giving him something to think about. Manx has got around Avalon. 5.555 was the number. Why couldn't it have been 6.666, the number of the beast? And he's ahead of Avalon, who is 2.9 seconds back. I shouldn't sing at all, ever. It's not my thing. And then Ridge Troopers at the rear, as we know. But not a great race for Avalon this time out. Couldn't make it work for him. This is the battle. Aussie Rooster and Fubar. Aussie still holding Fubar off as they come to the end of the straight. The Diablo the Not Diablo just has enough to hold off the charge of the WRX on that straight. When they come through this final corner here, this first corner here, is where Fubar needs to make the move. And he does try to go up the inside, but clips the wall, and that leaves Aussie ahead. And he made that dive up the inside, and it probably would have worked. So that is the race over. This is the last lap for Kevin, for Stormfly from Aussie, Fubar. GMAC's got another lap to do, I think. Yeah, GMAC has got another lap to do, and TJ and Wiggy this time. So a lot of them make a final lap here. And here goes Wiggy on TJ up into 6th place. Is fuel going to play a factor? Absolutely it is. He's going to be running with no fuel. So Manx finishes in 8th place. Avalon in 9th. Grizz will come home in 10th place. But we've got Kevin in the lead. He's got enough fuel to make it to the end, as has Stormfly. Aussie Rooster might be struggling towards the end of this lap for fuel. He's got Fubar in behind him. Can Fubar capitalise? Wiggy has gone back again behind TJ, but I think TJ's going to run out of fuel, and he has already, or has he? Yes, there goes Wiggy. But this is the battle we want to look at. Aussie Rooster trying to stay ahead. We'll see Kevin cross the line, of course, first. We can't miss that in the final race. So Kevin will come down. He will cross the line in 1st place. Another win for Kevin, and a 1:56.7 to boot, just to prove a point. Here comes Stormfly. Fubar is now ahead of Aussie. There he is. And it looks like Aussie's run out of fuel. Yes, he has. So Fubar coming through. How far behind is GMAC? Is he close enough? I don't think he is. Fubar will take 3rd place. There he goes across the line. Aussie down to 56 mile an hour. He's still got some way to go. But Wiggy's past GMAC as well. Did GMAC run out of fuel? So Wiggy with a big finish here. Is he going to catch Aussie? Aussie out of fuel. Wiggy not quite yet. He must be rubbing his hands together with glee. This could potentially be a top 4 finish for the little car that finally did. They're going to write children's books about that little car. And kids, maybe they make a Hollywood movie. And Wiggy will star in it. Here comes Wiggy. Where's the finish line? Aussie just makes it. Wiggy flies past him. GMAC is trundling home. Trundle. Such a long way to go. But look how far TJ's got to come. The time he's going to run out, everyone's going to have gone home. The roads will be reopened to the traffic by the time these guys have finished this race. But G-Mac trundling that BMW home finally when he gets it there. And what a finish from Wiggy. Did it everything right in terms of strategy, and that has paid off, and he took it to the end. Overtaking is prohibited, like he is doing any overtaking anytime soon. And we watched G-Mac, and I'm surprised he's not fiddling with the stereo or something. He does make it home eventually, so there we go. All done and dusted. 3 from 3 for Kevin. Stormfly with a great second place in that last race. Great performance from Fubar. Great performance from Aussie. And driver of the day without question is Wiggy, taking that Suzuki Swift to a top 5 finish. What a race from those guys. It's been a really, really good one again. Well done, everybody. So, 2 races left in GR4 lottery, and really enjoyed that. And I say, again, I apologise for the issues with the stream at the beginning. I don't control the bullshit that my ISP does, but I will be having a little shout at them and see if we can get some money off my bill. Yeah, why not? Why not? If I can get a few quid, I will. But thanks for joining me. It's been another great race here for the GR4 lottery. We're back tomorrow for a little bit of Formula 1. It's round 3 at the Hungaro Ring with the late night racing league guys, and that is really hotting up already. It's been a great couple of races so far, and looking forward to some more great racing. Let's see if we can get through a race without a couple of DNFs. Would be a good, great, well, it wouldn't be a good start, it would be a great start. But all that's left for me to say is I have been Urban Pirate. This has been Black Flag Racing TV. With the Black Flag E-Racing GR4 lottery, live from Tokyo East counterclockwise, and we'll see you tomorrow for Formula 1 racing. Toodle pip. It's been emotional.